Hey, welcome to another video. So this time we're just going to make some longer shift handles for the Trooper. So this applies to pretty much anything. If you put a body lift on something for more tyre clearance, you're going to need to extend your shift levers in some way, just because it's an unnatural position. So when you're sat in it, you're reaching forward. Instead of it being at the right height, it's below. So the Trooper, which obviously it's seen in all my other videos, not all of them, but most of my other videos, it's got a 2-inch body lift on it. So I want to put some extended shift levers on it. So the standard ones are about 1.5 to 2 inches long. So what I'm going to do, this is a camshaft out of Ford and Dexter. It's rusty, and yeah, it could be cleaned up and used again, but it's pretty much scrap nowadays. You can buy them too cheap. So what I've done, I've cut it up. So I'm going to cut this off here, and then that'll be me main for me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and reverse gear lever, and then this is going to be for my transfer box. So that's the end length of what I'm going to use. So I'm going to do some bits and bobs to it just to make it nicer. So this will get drilled and tapped. All mine are M10s, so obviously you'd have to look at whatever yours are. Troopers are M10. I don't know about anything else, but most of them will be a standard size, I would guess. M10 be 1.25, which is just the standard M10. So I'm going to drill and tap that here, and then this is going to get cut off. This end will get drilled and tapped just the same as that, and then that'll be so it'll just obviously be that bit there, which is a similar size to that, but a bit deeper. So that'll be the shift knob then, and then I'm going to put this in lathe. I'm going to cut a big chamfer on that and a big chamfer on that, and then I'm going to polish it up, make it all nice. I don't want to paint it out, I just want it in just as it would be. I know it will get eventually mucky and dusty and dirty and all that, but I like that sort of look. So I'll show you what I'm going to do. First thing I'm going to do is cut that off. So I'm just going to use grinder because that's what I've got. Nice and easy. Just cut round it where you can, and it'll come off. So the reason I'm using this Dexter one is, if you see this here, I don't know if you can see that or not really, picture quality is rubbish at the minute, need a new phone, but that edge there is totally ruined, so be scrap anyway, this cam. So right, I'll bring you back and drilling and tapping and grinding and all that. So as you can see here, just clean that end up with grinder, just with a flap disc, and then I've just centre punched the middle. Same with this one, so that's the longer one of the two. I've cut that top off. I'm going to leave that as it is for now. So I'm going to run that in lathe, face it back to here somewhere, and then once it's faced back, then I'll cut a nice chamfer on it so it feels nice in your hand for changing gear and all that. So I'm going to take that over to a pillar drill and drill a pilot hole for a start, and then I'll drill the size for tapping. So right, so I've got this set up in drill press. I'm just going to drill a 5mm pilot, and then once I've drilled that, I'll drill it to the size for the M10 by 1.5. I misspoke earlier, 1.5 taps. So yeah, drill this now. So right size is 8.5mm. See that on there? Yep. So I'm just going to drill that out to 8.5 now, and then I'll show you what I'm going to do to tap it. It's a bit difficult to film this, but here's my tapping setup. So I've got a centre point in there, so I put that in the top of the tap like that, and then that centres it perfectly in the hole. So then all I've got to do is spin the tap and it'll tap it. So obviously I've tapped a bit of that already, that's why it went in that easily. But when you're tapping something, you should do one full turn in, half a turn out, another full turn in, another half turn out, especially in cast, because you can easily break a tap in cast. So I'm going to tap this one out nearly to the bottom of them holes. Don't need quite all of it, but I drilled them deeper because I didn't know how much thread I'm going to have on gear stick when I take it off. So I'll show you tapping me. I'll show you when I tap the next one. Right, so I didn't show you tapping the first one because I was just making sure it would work, but I'll show you what I'm doing here. So I've got a tapered bit in there that is actually for countersinking, but works the same. So in the top of the tap there's always a hole, which is the centre. So if I put the tap in like so, it's a bit difficult to do one-handed. And then drop the drill down into the hole like so. Now as I spin this tap, it'll be perfectly parallel with that hole that I've drilled already. So I can't really do it here, but because obviously I need more than one hand, but that's a general job with this now. So I'm gonna run that tap in. Got that started now, so I'm going to take it out and just nip this in vise and use just like the bigger tapping handle, and then I'm just going to run that in. So I'll show you doing that in a sec. Right, so here we are back again with the gear sticks. So you saw last time, cut it and threaded the end. So this is the shorter one of the two. I just chucked it up in the lathe and I just cut in decided to go for 35 degrees. So I'm going to cut 35 degree there. I think that's probably about done, other than chamfering them sharp edges, which I'll do. I'm not going to chamfer them as such. I'm going to put sandpaper, sand them, because I want it to be a nice polished top. So I'm going to spin it round and cut 35 degree on here now, so it's more like a ball than a whatever you want to call that is now. So I'll show you me doing that. Right, so I didn't video it because it's difficult to video because I haven't got a tripod, but 120 grit sandpaper, just sanded it, and then 1200 grit just to polish it up a bit, just to make it a bit smoother, nicer in hand. So yeah, I'll just take this out of here now. I'll show you what the crack is. So that is my gear stick. That's my range shifter, to be honest. Sort of high-low reverse. Not high-low reverse, just high and low. And four-wheel drive, so I'll show you. Anyway, give me 30 seconds and I'll go and show you putting this one on the car. So here we are at the Trooper. So you'll see what I was on about now. So it's this gear stick here for the high and four-wheel drive low. I'll just unscrew it. And then this is my gear stick. Need two hands to thread that on. I'll come back in a second. So there she is. So sorry, put the side lights on there. So there she is. So I've just had to retap that thread because it's not 1.5. It's not M10 1.5. It's M10 1.25. Should have measured it. Anyway, luckily with it being cast, it's nice and easy to retap. So yeah, that's that done. Obviously you can't change gear because on a Trooper you've got to put it into four-wheel drive, and then it lets you change it from high to four-wheel drive low. So you can only put it in low box in four-wheel drive, if you know what I mean. So yeah, that's this one done. I'll do this other one. I'm not going to film the whole thing because it's virtually the same as this, and then I'll show you it when it's done. Right, so that's that other stick done. So I've just done pretty much the same. So that's my main gear stick, and then high and low. So I do expect a bit more time polishing on the main one to try and make it as smooth as possible, just to make it so it's nice to drive. I know it's got a longer throw now, but at least it's actually, you know, a bit more easier to reach. You know, I'm not having to lean forward to grab it when it was down here. So yeah, so I think that's an improvement on that, and I think that is a definite improvement on that. So yeah, thanks for watching. Little modification. Now you don't have to use camshafts to do this. You can use pretty much anything. So an old shaft with a nice spline on it, as long as you make it nice and smooth at the top so it's nice to drive, it'll be fine. So pretty much anything you can use, really. Your world's your oyster with that one, but this has just happened to be what I had. So yeah, I'll thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.